Did someone just forget we have a deputy city clerk? Greetings, everyone. This is the Gardening Snail of Livingston, California, just trying to keep the community informed and local government as honest as possible. In this video, we are going to go over the agenda for the July 5th, 2023 City Council Special Meeting agenda, but first, we're going to go down a little side road. At the June 20th, 2023 City Council meeting, the City Council discussed how they were going to go about filling the position of elected city clerk since the elected city clerk had submitted her resignation. The discussion touched on two main topics. The first being, just what exactly was the duties of the elected city clerk? The second being, was the City Council going to appoint a new city clerk, or were there need to be a general election to fill the vacancy? It came up during the meeting that the job description that was presented to the City Council on the 20th had been updated October 10th, 2020, and the long list of requirements in this job description varied dramatically from what historically had been the understanding of the duties of the elected city clerk. I say understanding because if you were to look at the municipal code online as it is written as of the posting date of this video, there's no just one section that specifically spells out the duties of the elected city clerk. I've talked to a couple people whose memories go back a little bit farther than mine, and from what I gather, the elected city clerk, for many years, did nothing more than maybe draft meeting minutes and sign a few documents, the stipend for which was, and still is, $100 per month. Now, I did happen to find, after a bit of searching, a document on the city's website that stated the new position description was created on October 13th, 2020, and approved on October 14th, 2020, which begs the questions, created by who and approved by who? Because when I go back to the list of city council meetings in October, there was no city council meeting on October 14th, 2020. I do not know what triggered the updating of the job description in October of 2020. What I can say is that this update did not appear on a city council meeting agenda in October of 2020, nor in September of 2020, nor November of 2020. Keep in mind that if the stipend for the elected city treasurer was to be adjusted to be in line with the number of expectations contained in the October 10th, 2020 update, that stipend adjustment would have had to have been finalized prior to the November 2020 elections. And if there is any thought of increasing the stipend from the current $100 a month to a higher dollar amount to compensate for the increase in expectations contained in the October 10th, 2020 revision, it could be done. However, it could not go into effect until after whoever is elected as city clerk in November 2024 takes office. With that in mind, let's get into the agenda. If you cannot attend in person, there is a teleconference number, 520-525-8911, and the meeting will also be streamed on YouTube Live. Public comments can be submitted via email at citycouncil@livingstoncity.com. Persons with disabilities who may need assistance should contact the Deputy City Clerk at least 24 hours prior to this meeting at 209-394-8041, extension 121. After the roll call, Pledge of Allegiance, moment of silence, and changes to the agenda is citizens' comments. At a special meeting, members of the public wishing to address the council for any matter on the agenda may do so at this time. Note, under the provisions of the California Government Code, the City Council is prohibited from discussing or taking action on any items not on the agenda. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. There are two discussion and potential action items. Number one is to consider and discuss the City of Livingston City Council's options for filling the city clerk position. The second is to provide direction on the use of the Recplex facility for the 5150 Fight Night event. We'll take a closer look at both of these items when we get into the staff reports. After that will be a closed session, at which time the City Council will discuss the appointment of a city attorney. Now, let's start looking at staff reports. Let's start out with the filling of the vacant city clerk position. The current city clerk resigned effective June 8, 2023. The government code governs the office of the city clerk. Notice that I have circled the word office as in the office of the city clerk. I'm doing this because I want to make a sharp distinction between the office of the city clerk and the people who make up that office. In Livingston's case, there are two people that make up that office. The two people that make up that office include the elected city clerk, who receives a $100 a month stipend, and the deputy city clerk, who receives a salary which is negotiated via the bargaining units. You can pause to read the duties and responsibilities here about the local official, service department, and elections office. In Livingston's case, many, if not most of these tasks were delegated or relegated, if you want to call it, to Livingston's deputy city clerk over the years. It could be time for discussion about how many of these tasks should be done by the city clerk and how many should be done by the elected city clerk. But that would have to be an agenda item of its own at a future city council meeting. What's on the agenda for this meeting is to decide how to go about filling the vacancy. The city council has two options: fill the vacancy by appointment or call a special election to fill the vacancy. The council has until August 7th to either appoint someone or call the special election. The council could just directly appoint someone, or they could solicit applications from interested persons. The closest date a special election could be held is Tuesday, November 7th, 2023, and special elections are not cheap. Should the City Council decide to hold a special election, the estimated cost would be between $15,448 and $53,345. One of the attachments to the staff report is the government code that relates to the city clerk. I'm going to skip over this long list in the government code because I've covered what's in it basically already in a previous video. I am going to skip down to this part in the code which talks about how the city clerk may appoint deputies and remind everyone that sometime in the past, most, if not almost all of the tasks associated with the city clerk were delegated to the deputy city clerk. It's just my opinion, but if the city council really wants to ensure more of these tasks are done by the elected city clerk, two things are going to need to happen. Number one, the division of labor between the elected city clerk and the deputy city clerk need to be clearly spelled out in our municipal code. Number two, the amount of pay given the elected city clerk would need to be adjusted to appropriately compensate for the complexity of tasks assigned. Moving on to the proposed use of the Recplex facility for the 5150 Fight Night event. In early June, Julio Valadez inquired about the use of the Recplex building to host the event. In exchange for the use of the Recplex, the Carlos Vieira Foundation proposes to complete this list of cleanup and repair items. The City Council could allow the foundation to use the Recplex facility, deny facility use, or decide to continue the discussion to a future meeting. The foundation has agreed to provide the required insurance for the protection of the city. Under fiscal impact, it states, due to the expense of professional services required to complete the repairs and maintenance offered by the foundation, there would be no rent or use fees collected. However, the city will be saving an unknown amount of funds by allowing the foundation to complete the offered repairs and maintenance. If you like what I do here, please follow me on Facebook and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And remember, editorial content is my own as a long-term resident of Livingston and does not represent the views and opinions of the City Council or the City of Livingston itself, and does not hold itself out to be any kind of legal advice.